Hello everyone and welcome back for English 1520 Comp 2 at OCC for the 8-week online asynchronous course. This is week 3 for the overview. I'm going to be going over a couple of different elements here, and I want you guys to note right off the bat, excuse me on the slight screen adjustment here real quick, but there's not a lot that has to be added to this piece. Working in conjunction with last week, we have moved now through the rhetorical analysis summary and outline phase. That was due last night at 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, and I went through. I did see that I have a number of submissions there. Hopefully this week there's going to be a video here, not just a link. If there is just a link, guys, there's nothing more I can do about that. It seems to be something that got changed up in the software once again. Every time something gets changed on one end, it seems to impact all of us, and we end up having to scramble to figure out how to make it work for everything. And this has been fairly consistent with the inconsistencies for a few years now. But this was a new one where that didn't launch and go to my actual files to be able to be viewed as a fill-in embedded video right in the course outline here. But hopefully that's how this will appear again. As of now, guys, I still can only have it like this in this one. Sorry, that's not my link. This is because of my piece that I'm on right now. It's going to be listed down in here. If anybody did have an issue accessing that, just let me know, and I'll make sure that the link is updated on there. I just moved it from the one file to this one. Moving into week 3, guys, I want you to remind you guys that you had the quizzes that were assigned last week. You only had the summary and outline to do. That was based off a 30 to 90 second ad, doing the rhetorical analysis based off the readings, and then the quizzes based off of the review of coordination and subordination, and then anything dealing with the reading portion all the way up through rhetorical analysis. So making sure that you guys at least got through those on those chapters and understood that content. That's what primarily was on the quizzes there. The reading one was primarily focused on the rhetorical concepts, including the rhetorical writing situation for a course like this, covering the week 1 readings. The rhetorical analysis components this week, you really are just working on one element now. You're working on the rough draft. The only difference there is we also have our next our next discussion board, the discussion board 2. The first one was the introductory one. Everybody had class introductions that they contributed to. I did have a pretty good turnout for that. Hopefully the same will be true in terms of the rhetorical analysis discussion board. I've had some subpar experiences in the online environment so far. This semester with this class in particular seems to be going okay. I have not had too many issues so far. A couple of things with students with some user errors and software and some uploading things. Make sure you guys remember that in all the overview commentary and the instructions on things from week 1 and in the syllabus in your content file, when you're looking at the submission requirements, everything must be a Microsoft Word document. When you're submitting anything for me, particularly if something like with rhetorical analysis that you guys just completed, you guys had in your assignment schedule, you already had the rhetorical analysis summary and outline here. This rough draft 2 one on this is not going to remain in the schedule. It's only going to be this rough draft here, guys. I'm only going to have one and then the final on this. It's an 8-week semester, and we don't do in-person peer edits. So I'm taking this one out on there. We're going to have one for the research paper, and then probably not for the cultural piece. That's just the shorter piece that ends the term. But the rhetorical analysis summary and outline, for these on here, guys, everybody just had to go through these, select your ad, fill out the template. And the reason that I bring this up again, and I'm actually opening it, is for the diagnostic and summary outline here for rhetorical analysis, students have already begun to kind of leave off following all the directions. Remember that you have to read and follow all the directions on these guys, including in the drop boxes. Last week I went over all these, including the idea of removing all examples before filling out your own. And I still have students that don't take these out. And matter of fact, it doesn't even look like you read the instructions entirely. Just leave in whatever and then writing your own things in the body paragraphs, including students that just left this topic sentence here. That doesn't mean that if body 1 is imagery that you couldn't have very similar wording on this, but I have students who left this on here and don't have imagery as their body 1. I have students who left this on here with including captions, and they may have imagery in their body 1, but they make no reference to captions whatsoever, nor did I see captions in the ad that you presented to me. Now, in these basics on this, guys, the other thing was you have to leave the templates as they are. You cannot modify or make any changes, and that primarily refers to any element of any page that I give you. And on these, guys, that would include removing the boxes on these. Now, on the diagnostic, I had a few students where this was a significant issue, and I made comments about those on your work. I will not grade assignments where you guys change the file type and everything else on mine. I can't view anything that's not a Microsoft Word document, nor does the system accept it for processing and grading. So it's kind of a dead file for us there. For students who had pages files and other formatting, I made note of that and commented on those. I'm giving students a few days to address those so that they are taken care of and I can go back and look. I just can't promise that I can spend any reasonable time on those going over more comments and corrections, because I'll be moving into this week looking over the rhetorical analysis summary outlines. And I have to stick with the grading schedule that's consistent for each one of my classes each week. It's in an 8-week semester, especially when I have multiple classes running. I have 4 of them in compressed form, so it's a lot of grading every single week. I can't make changes and go back and go back and go back when file types and everything are incorrect, and I have to go back to old files. These of those files on these guys, for those ones on the feedback, diagnostics, remember, included the recommendations for tutoring. For those of you who end up utilizing any variation of tutoring, remember, student services at the top. You can contact Academic Support Center here. We got resources for tutoring. You can download the PenG app and make any of your appointments there for online Zoom tutoring sessions, in-person or in-person, on campus, or online only remote ones. There's also a schedule listing over here under English and Writing for the semester. You can look at these in accordance with campus and time scheduling, and every one of the campuses has some in-person but also online. So remember that there's a drop box for this that's always open, folks. If you do complete those, you can use the confirmation email and submit it here, or the confirmation form from the ASC and submit a copy of that into this extra credit file. At the end of the semester, I will add the extra credit to whatever file most positively impacts your grade. Now, going back to week 3 for these, make sure that you guys do the readings, because these readings are not just focused now on rhetorical analysis. They're going to be for opening up into research commentary and work that we're going to be doing in week 4. That's also going to include some instructional videos that you have to watch that are not just mine, but from some research librarians covering those topics. And next week is we're going to be our first overlap. You're going to have the final draft of the rhetorical analysis paper to submit in week 4, at the end of week 4, along with completing the summary and working thesis and primary points of support for research. We'll get to those next week. Just make sure you guys note, once you guys are done with week 3 on rough draft, next Sunday, this upcoming Sunday on the 26th, you have to submit this rough draft by 11:59 p.m. I give you an additional day to post to discussion board 2. So if we're going to our discussion boards, we now have the second one on here loaded up for rhetorical analysis, May 19th through 30th. So you're going to post your draft to one of these, and then you're going to also go through and review a classmate's in accordance with these guidelines. Please do not give me yes, no responses to a classmate's. I am not giving any credit. I shouldn't say any credit. I would give a very low partial credit on that, but I'm certainly not giving students full credit who read through and just say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And make sure that the rhetorical devices you guys are talking about through all these are not referring to logos, ethos, pathos. Those are not in any way rhetorical devices. Those are rhetorical concepts or proofs. That was discussed last week. That's clear in your reading. That's also clear in the assignment instructions. I say that explicitly in that Dropbox. Both weeks, actually. So make sure that you guys are focusing on these and giving your classmates reasonable content review so that they have some things they can respond to. For the rough draft stage and final draft stage of the essay, for the rhetorical analysis, you guys will be watching for your classmates' posted draft that has to be in by the 27th, next Monday. The review of a classmate's draft must be posted to that same discussion board on a classmate's posting no later than the 30th by 11:59 p.m. That's to give everyone opportunity to finish their work and then go through their classmates to have a peer review to respond to, work on, and edit before a final draft is due on the 2nd of June. For the final draft, guys, you're going to be looking for your classmates' peer review to respond to, and you're going to be looking for my review of your rhetorical analysis summary and outline. I will be posting credit only for the rough drafts. I won't be going line by line through anything there. If you guys have your summary and outlines done correctly, it will be no issue of me responding to these, grading these in total, and giving you clear direction as to what would have to be fixed or finished in the paper itself. If you do these correctly, folks, that's all I need to see in completed form in order to tell you whether or not your paper is going to have the correct content. If you don't on these, you're giving yourself a double whammy on these ones, because you're not getting anything from me on that if I didn't get it correctly done. Make sure that you do. Make sure you don't take out anything of the template or reformat it or do anything of the sort. We also look at that as a red flag for academic honesty issues when we see our templates be modified. It's one of the #1 things students do when they're trying to send our templates through other software systems to have generative AI or a screen reader go through and do the form for them. Now, so you'll be looking for that on the feedback and your classmates from the peer review in order to complete and submit a final draft. If you are one of my students who has sentence level issues as noted on diagnostics, everybody, again, the ASC tutoring is available for a reason. We are not in any way responsible for sentence level issue mechanics remediation of any kind in a 1520. This is something that students have to be very clear about. It shouldn't be an issue where I have to go through and correct spelling and run-ons and comma splices and things on a rough draft. You guys should be able to have your feedback files from the scaffolding structure of a rhetorical analysis summary and outline, along with the ones upcoming for the research pieces. When you give me my templates completed, if I respond to those, we should both be on the same exact page as to what's right and what's wrong about the work you're creating for an essay itself. The house does not get built without a proper blueprint. You guys can't do the same, follow the same directions in terms of an essay itself and its construction. If you guys know what you're doing in those, you know what you're looking for in each other's drafts, that should be just fine to work your way through the discussion boards on these. And remember, if you need additional support on those and it's not enough to have a response from the professor on the summary and outline and peer feedback in the discussion board forums in this type of a class, you either need to be utilizing ASC tutoring at all times for proofread and revision. Perhaps you should be in a face-to-face as opposed to an online class, or maybe both. All right? Something to think about as the semester rolls on there. Okay? But watching for those things this week, guys, remember that the 2 things that are due this evening that were posted from last week in week 2, you had the first writing quiz and reading quiz. The reading quiz, I already have the majority of students completed the writing quiz. I have just a few shy of the majority on the reading quiz, but I know some of you are still in progress when I last looked about 2 hours ago. So make sure that you get those completed in. Those will post with the correct and incorrect, all correct answers, so you'll see what you got right and wrong on there, and then it'll show you what the corrections were. And those should populate directly into your grade book. If they don't right away, don't worry about it. I'll go back in again tomorrow or Wednesday and make sure I go over them. All right? Now, remember that instant messaging is the communication protocol for this class. Sorry, guys. Make sure that you guys note these on here. We have a couple of different things. You click on this. I got messages from you guys about some files you were addressing and things, and that's just fine. We already talked about some of those, and hopefully that all gets worked out. All right? I look forward to seeing the remainder of the work. And again, if you got questions or comments, instant message me here, and I will respond. Typically, I always do message back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on these forums. Sometimes over the weekend, too. Last weekend, I was a bit... I did respond to a bunch of people on Saturday, but I was gone on Sunday. And I can't make any guarantees in that area because sometimes I'm just gone for the weekend. All right? All right, guys, good work so far. It really is turning out to be starting off as a good class. All right, look forward to seeing the remainder of the work.